right, we are live. See Mincy's garden on here. Our beds are looking amazing. Hey, heirloom pumpkin. I cannot say that word. We're going to start off with just saying I cannot say that word. There's a few words that I just cannot pronounce. I have to really think about it, and that is one of the words.
What's that state you can't say?
I'm not going to say it.
All right, so hello, heirloom permaculture.
Well, if y'all seen our membership for Justin's Roads,
wait, say it again. See
I can't say it.
Can you say hey to them?
Abundant permaculture.
And can you
I have
say
to
okay?
Really think about it.
Don't think about it. Just say it. Say hey, heirloom permaculture.
I can't. I have to think about it. So anyway, y'all saw that video clip. We had our tags at the end, our bloopers at the end, where we both slaughtered.
She can't say it. She lets it go permaculture, like Parmesan.
Think about it. There's only a handful of words that I can't get out.
Colorado, Ed busts her up every time too.
I have to really think about it.
Well, welcome, heirloom permaculture. Thank y'all for coming on. Hey, yes. Mimsy, how are you?
So we're going to do a little bit different this week. We're going to do a little bit more topical. But anyway,
we're hoping we don't lose signal. We actually don't have a nasty day like we did last time, so hopefully we'll keep signal. Last week was a joke, so.
But our piglets, have y'all seen our baby piglets? Peppa finally had her babies. Just the table. She had 7. And those things can squeal.
They're loud.
They are loud.
We're trying to figure out what we want to do with them. Our goal was to keep. Our goal was to keep maybe 3 or 4, and then sell the rest. But again, this crazy world we're in right now, I don't know if we just want to keep them all and raise them all. But I really don't have the spot for. We have 5 feeder pigs, then we have the mom and daddy, the breeders. And we have 7 little piglets. So
yeah, the feeder pigs will go.
That's a lot of pigs.
The feeder pigs will go to slaughter this fall. So this fall we will
Kim?
Go ahead and stock our freezer full.
And Kim says, as long as you're not trying to give away something, you should be fine. I agree. Hey, we sent your stuff off 3 days ago, 2 days ago. You should be receiving in the mail. Kim, your prize from the last live, but we're not going to talk about that because we'll go off or something. I don't know. Hey, Sean, Alaska.
Don't even say it.
Hey, read what you say. What's going on? Hey, y'all be safe down there. Read what you sow in Louisiana. Seems like, man, y'all are quadrupling y'all's numbers down there. Sick area.
Very scary times. It's very
Louisiana's
weird.
Man. Yeah.
I mean, it's not really for us because. Especially for me, because I'm used to being home. I'm used to homeschooling. My work is home, so it's not really that different for me. But Colby says it's very weird, like going into Walmart. Like we've had a few essentials that we've had to go pick up. Other than that, we haven't really gone anywhere.
I feel like we're like in the twilight zone.
But he says going in, like standing in the lines and stuff like that is really weird.
Hey, Mandy. Yeah, I think what's so unique about it is, like Missy said, we really don't, when it comes to our farm and comes to the way we live our life in generality, our life hasn't really changed much. We don't go out and eat a lot and things like that. But it seems like when I have to go out, that's when it gets a little weird.
So. Mincy's garden, we understand that.
Yes, we completely understand that. I hope if y'all see us buffing or anything, please let us know because our internet kind of acted shoddy just a while ago. So.
Went to town today in Alaska, and it was quite scary. Yeah.
Alaska seems like y'all are not hit as hard as everybody else so far.
Hopefully,
hey, Paige family,
come that way for sure.
Hey, Diana.
Very, very weird, different times. But anyway, yeah. So our pigs, we're super excited about our piglets. I went out to check on them and was just flipping them up to see how many boys, how many girls we had. They like to have busted my eardrum. I did not realize, squeal like a pig. and they squeal, but those little suckers are loud. But they're doing good. They're nursing very good. I was a little concerned about her at first because she keeps laying down on her stomach on the front.
Hey, Stacy.
And but I think she's finally figured out her babies aren't going to be able to eat unless she lays on her side. So we bought these set of pigs or hogs as piglets and raised them up and bred them, and now they've had their baby. She's had her babies finally. So we waited a long time for this. We had to wait for them to grow up, then wait for her to carry out her pregnancy. So it's a very exciting time. We've been looking for those babies. Really, I was kind of expecting them sometime in February.
Really.
Yeah, sometime in February. So I kept thinking, well, my heavens, if we go into April, I don't know when she's going to have them. So it was a few weeks later than I expected. But hey, we're just glad that they're here. She had 7, a litter of 7, and they're all doing really good.
What's crazy is, as most people that tell you about raising hog, and I have a video I'm gonna put out about what it costs to raise our hogs versus raise our feeder pigs, but most people tell you it's probably not wise to just raise your own meat from piglet form because you really don't ever. Seems like it costs you more. But as you know, with us, if you watched any of our videos, we have a sustainable livestock and we have a feeder livestock, right? What we consider like conventional livestock or conventional food, such as the Cornish cross and the feeder pigs and the beef steer. So it's one of those things that we love having the American guinea hog. I would not tell anybody to get that as a feeder pig for a season to
Family
kill.
Homestead, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, how are y'all? But for us to have sustainable livestock, they're a great heritage breed to have. They've been easy to deal with versus our feeder pigs. But I wouldn't say buy American guinea hog to raise for a season to kill off. Would you? I mean, I wouldn't. They're slow.
I'm sorry,
growing.
I was reading. Page family, you're super right, because the only way you're gonna know what you're eating is if you raise it yourself. So we are super excited about that. But one of the things that this is going to be a little bit different. We talked about usually before we just come on and chat and talk about our weeks and what all has gone on. But tonight we really wanted to encourage you guys to, just like today, I got out and there's an area. I think we showed the asparagus bed, even though they really needed some care. On our we didn't show it up close, but we showed it on our homestead tour video. Yeah,
I can't remember.
So the asparagus bed is something that I started from seeds 2 years ago. I grew them up in my greenhouse for a solid year, and as they would get root bound every few months, 3 or 4 months, I would transplant them, left them in there.
We agree, John.
Until till last spring. Then I planted them in the ground. So the asparagus this next year, they've been in the ground for a whole year. Kim. So this next year, it will be 3 years. So my asparagus, they say you can harvest X amount of weeks from the first year to second year, X amount of weeks. You guys will have to do the research on that. But my point is that on our 3rd year, we'll be able to really start bringing in crop from those asparagus. And the thing about asparagus is once you get them planted and established, they will feed you for years and years to come. So they're very easy. Even I started mine from seed.
No worries, Mamsie.
And if I haven't killed them yet, y'all probably won't kill them. They can withstand drought, because there's been many days I've not watered those bad boys.
Hey Larry,
they're pretty tolerant as far as once you get them established and you planted them. We have, I won't say brutal winters here, but we have cold winters under freezing, wet winters, and then we have scorching hot summers. So they're pretty they're doable for a lot of people. They're very doable. So it's very exciting that we have those planted, we have those established, and by next year we will be able to start bringing asparagus in. I have several plants out there in that asparagus bed, and for years and years to come we will be able to eat off of those asparagus plants. So That's very encouraging.
I think what for us, I had to go to I lost some of my seed from okra this last day. We had tons of rain a few days ago, and when I went to the seed store, um, these are annual crops, just like our corn and our okra, and of course anything you typically grow in spring and summer garden. Um, and it's amazing how it's kind of one of those things that it's bad. Things happen in the world, and everybody kind of freaks out, and then seed goes. You don't have seed. I was looking at we own about 7 or 8 Premier One fences, and I needed one more, and I can't get it. I need a part for my milker. I can't get it. So the purpose of what we're saying is annual. We love having annual gardens, but when we can have biannual, such as onions and root vegetables, then we can have our perennials, such as our fruit trees, our plums, our apples, our peaches, even down to our asparagus and strawberries. That's the blessing I think that we can find is knowing that sustainability doesn't mean just annual crops 12 months out of the year, which we do grow 12 months out of the year. We have a harvest of lettuce that's absolutely gorgeous right now, and this is our second or third harvest really from last late summer. This is our third growth season, so there's nothing wrong with us growing annuals, and I would challenge you to grow annuals, learn to sustain seed, but to have the perennials such as the asparagus, the strawberries, the fruit trees like our plum tree, our blueberries, our plum tree right now, I would venture to say it has probably 100 to 200 plums,
Oh my heavens,
if
if not
not
more than
more.
that.
And that's a blessing. We've worked so hard to get our orchard where it needs to go, and our peaches are the only thing that's really struggling. Everything else is just blossoming. So to me, that's what's so neat about having sustainability and having our gardens is we try to say, okay, yes, we need annuals, we need spring, we need summer, we need fall, but then we need biannuals so we can grow them twice a year. Oh, we really need perennials because they'll grow back all the time, just like our herbs and all those things. Like we replanted some chives. We ate chives with some potato soup the other day, and we have rosemary. Of course, it goes on everything we have, but I think what's neat is if we can, us as homesteaders or gardeners or whatever you want to call yourself, farmers, if we get to the point where we realize there's so much more than just let's go pick up our seed from the seed store, let's plant it, let's eat it, and then we'll worry about it next year. We may grow a few little things here and there, but we'll just keep on buying it every year. My grandfather lived through the Depression, and before he died, his main goal was he said, "There's nothing better than growing a garden." He said, "But what's even better than that is when you actually have the seed from last year growing your garden." He said, "Because if you always have to buy your seed, then you're still not sustainable." And he said, "We lived through that time when we didn't have the seed, we didn't eat." So I think that's so cool when we can realize there's so much more to growing. It's to me is being sustainable with perennials, biennials, and annuals. So
Blueberries are not worth the time in Alaska. We're still eating on our blueberries that we have stored away in the freezer from last summer.
our blueberries
And our blueberry
crazy here.
bushes that are directly out from our back door are loaded, kind of like our plum tree. There is thousands of blueberries out there. They're everywhere. Now we have some fairly new blueberry bushes in different locations that are like maybe up to our knees, not very tall, just a few feet tall. And they will not produce a lot yet, but in the years to come, and that's kind of what we were wanting to really focus on and talk about is, it's so good to plant things to eat now, but think about planting things that come back every year and they feed you and they're going to be there year after year after year. So Kim, I wanted to tell you, I have strawberries. I had a strawberry patch last year that I really didn't have it where I wanted to have it. I was having major issues with bugs and stuff like that. And I killed them. It was my fault. I sprayed them with a concentrate. So that was totally my fault. But they will send out runners. That's what I couldn't get to my brain a while ago because I was trying to read, listen, and type all at the same time. Strawberry plants will send off runners. Those runners will actually make roots and grow a whole new plant, which is totally awesome. So if you planted 5 strawberries and you had runners from several different ways, you could have strawberries everywhere. And asparagus, the cool thing about asparagus is they grow up, so you could have runners under that. The only thing about asparagus is they don't really, mine yet, have really grown as wide as they do up. So my asparagus that are 2 years old are almost as tall as I am. And that's not all shoots. That's not all the stalks. I think that's what they're called. What are they called?
I guess
The pieces that actually go up that you would actually eat. I think those are called stalks. But anyway, but the rest of the
plant itself.
The plant itself is extremely tall. So just be aware of that.
Heirloom permaculture, I know I like your high tone or your greenhouse. I think you always have a lot of things growing in there. It's so pretty. But I agree. I think that 2020 for us was a year of meat sustainability. But we've maneuvered in. Of course, we will definitely be meat sustainable this year with no issues. Hey, organic raw roots. But for us, we expanded our garden a little bit more, and actually, we have the pigs fixing to work in another spot to plant for fall again. You know, that we saw that with strawberries, and now we're going to do a whole other spot for fall tomatoes and things like that. So, homesteading, Graven Business Life, we have blueberries that are 1, 2, and 3 years old. We actually have
no, the oldest, the ones that are back here, the ones that we planted the first year after we built the house. So those are the oldest,
okay.
And they're the biggest. They're going to yield us the most.
We have 3 other big ones that we don't know how old they are. We actually transplanted them.
Yep.
But our oldest that does the best is 5 years old, and they've actually been producing probably for 3 years.
Yeah.
But here's the 2 reasons that we believe that our blueberry harvest is so good. I'm sorry, something popped up on my computer. Nothing changed.
We're trying to get it off the screen.
Can y'all see us?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, hey, McLeod, what makes our blueberries pop? Honeybees. And then also making sure you have 2 or 3 different kinds of blueberries.
So pollinators.
We have pollinators, but we also cross-pollinate with different kinds of blueberries. We have two different kinds of blueberries that are planted.
Varieties.
That's planted close that actually do not harvest. We actually do not harvest blueberries off of, but their pollination allows the bees to grab and cross-pollinate and makes those just go crazy.
Yeah, well, not only do we produce more, but the berries are also bigger.
Awesome.
And I have read articles of research that prove how that's true. So I thought that's really neat that we've seen that. There are also people have done studies on that to show that pollinators with different varieties will it makes an outrageous difference. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, Kim, I'm not sure.
Whatever type of pollinators.
I know there's some that strawberries that do not run. It's kind of like, it's like sweet potatoes. You can get runners, and then you can get ones that stay right there underneath.
Almost all the ones that I have are runners here.
Yeah, definitely. We love bees. This is the perfect time if you can get a swarm box and set it up pretty high.
Yeah, this is the time you could get
catch a swarm pretty easy.
And that's the cool thing is if you could get your hands on just a box or buy a box, make a box. A lot of people make a box and set those up. You could get freebies. I mean, you could. Not saying that you would, but it's a possibility, and that's super cool.
Heirloom permaculture, our soil is actually really good here for blueberries. We tend to do really well. We do plant them. Our orchard, we've had the chickens work a lot, so that soil tends to stay very nitrogen blessed and acidic. But the other ones we have planted actually next to our house and bark beds. They look like beautiful shrubs, and they're actually blueberries.
Yep.
With our kind of have a food forest kind of theme going around our house. So.
Yep.
It's one of those things that they do really well here. However, there's some things that don't do well here. So, but blueberries is one of the ones that do really nice here, and we're happy with that. 'Cause we like blueberries. I love them actually.
I actually made blueberry pancakes this morning.
Yeah, they were the bomb too. Yeah, yep. Kim, you got to get on to her. She's yawning now. So
sorry.
Life Garden Cage. Hey man, how are you doing?
All right. So some of the other things that we have is we have some apple trees, and you do need cross-pollination with apple trees. So we have several different varieties of apple trees.
Larry,
and we have a lot of apples on our baby trees. We consider these babies.
before we talk about apples, I'm sorry. Larry, we do have some in part shade. Actually, 2 sets of them are in part shade, and then 1 set of them is in full sun. They both do well, and I think it's really contributing to the pollinators. You know, yeah, you can, just like the mason bees, the organic raw roots,
Kim.
and Kim. A lot of people have bees and they won't actually ever get the honey out of them, and that's okay. Let them feed themselves, but pretty much you're allowing them to have a place to lay low, to then pollinate your gardens and also your fruit. So,
but it's food for them and beneficial for you.
Don't get me wrong. We're honey. We love robbing the honey and also the honeycomb, and if we get things like the pollen and things like that, it's only better. But I know there's several people around here in our area that they raise bees just for that.
That's having extra pollinators.
That's right.
So apples.
True heirloom. We can't hardly grow comfrey. We've tried 2 or 3 different times. Most people say you can grow it like wildfire, but for some reason we can't grow it.
Oh.
Or every time we've tried it, just doesn't.
I cannot even get the seed to germinate here. So no, I take that back. Last year I did get it to germinate.
True,
but once it got to like an inch or 2 tall, it just.
We're going to try it again as it gets winter. I mean, summer, winter. Summer. We've got some more seeds for comfrey, so we're going to try it again as it gets a little bit warmer. Maybe it'll germinate a little bit easier. But I don't know.
What kind of nuts are y'all thinking about, Kim? I know I went to a seminar not long ago, and the guy was talking about how, like, pecan trees, and they take, like, it would almost not even be in our generation, I mean in our lifetime, that tree, you plant them and you do all the work, but likely you would never get a nut. If so, you'd be really, really old. And he was talking about all the disease. I mean, I was like, ooh, that makes me never want to do that. We thought
about growing some pecan trees, but we just hadn't. I guess for us, we look back and say, okay, if we plant pecan trees, we're going to have to plant them in our pasture areas. And we just hadn't got to the point of realizing that's a good move for us. We did, like today, I cut it around the sheep paddock. I expanded the sheep paddock, excuse me. But then I cut, if y'all have seen some old videos of ours, or really some videos where we just kind of talk about the backside of the lake where we planted the elderberry, I cut some of that today. And that'd be the only place that I think we could plant some pecan trees, because it's kind of out of the way. But then again, I'm like, man, if we make that pasture, not that the cows would hurt it, but eventually if it does grow, it's going to hurt our grass, which for us, beef would be more important than the pecans. I hate to say that, but that's just that'd be more of an asset for us than us having it'd be better for us to have grass versus the tree.
Yeah.
So. The thing that comes invasive here, our spearmint, is crazy invasive. I know that's for everybody.
And spearmint.
That's what I said.
You said what? Peppermint and spearmint.
I said spearmint.
Well, they both. They're in the same family. They both do the same thing. But somebody had the bright idea.
What?
To plant potatoes on top of the bed. Expanding the bed up. There is peppermint and spearmint growing everywhere. I mean, it's pretty coming out from the boards. It's shooting out everywhere. And did you know
spearmint is actually a superfood?
Very, very good for you.
It's a very good superfood. It's actually almost like moringa. So we're not complaining, because we actually have taken the cuttings and replanted it. But we might have
it's growing in the greenhouse, but it's also
we might have many potatoes.
It's also growing everywhere in the potatoes too. And I'll go out there and try to pull a bunch of it up.
Wintergreen potatoes. There's such thing. Mini fresh. I think that's what we're going to do. We have one little spot that we that's right, Sean Alaska. There's one spot that we're making a food forest, and we've talked about this in other videos, but we just have not done it. We've just been so busy. And I told Missy the same thing. I should just take all that spearmint and peppermint and just grow it out there, and hopefully grow the elderberries up top and let the mint grow wild underneath. And that's where we were trying to get the comfrey to end up going, but we didn't get there on the comfrey yet. So, yep. A.G. Mall's garden.
We also have muscadine planted on a trellis. And last year it put off several baby, what would you call them? Flowers, and then they turned into tiny little fruits. And I guess the birds got them from there. But this is still what we consider a baby plant. So we have really, over the past, what would you say, past year or two, we've really tried to focus on planting some of those things. Like when we moved here, blueberries, that was one of the first. I mean, we all love blueberries. We all ate
That's
blueberries.
really the
They're
only
very,
perennial that we dealt
very,
with.
very low maintenance. Like put them in the ground, leave them alone, you prune them every now and then, and that's pretty much it. They're very disease resistant in our area. So huge benefits. They're super good for you.
Thanks, Heirloom.
So that was one of the things that we did. Now, we did plant some other fruit trees that have not. We did not choose good locations for some of them.
Right.
Some of them some fruit trees are naturally more disease resistant or susceptible than others. So we had a apple tree that ended up with what? I took a piece of it. It was white, fuzzy.
It was a disease, and
I
we had
don't
to burn
remember
it.
what she told me it was, though.
I think what we've tried to do,
Y'all chime in and help me. We had an apple tree planted. It was not in a very good place.
It was a fungus or something, wasn't it?
I cannot remember. I think so. And I noticed that white, fuzzy, it almost looked like cotton was spread over the limbs. I would spray that sucker down and it would get better, but it would always come back. So I took a piece to our extension service and she said, you just need to uproot and go burn it. That's really your only the only thing you can do. So I feel like we've had to kind of start over. So everything that we had ago? Yeah. So everything that we have had planted that is a little bit more, well, I say that, but our plum is thriving.
Our plum is thriving.
Our pear, now that we've really started learning more fruits and stuff, have figured out that some require cross pollination and some don't. Pears do. So we
planted some crabapple and apples next to it, and pear and apple can cross pollinate.
Right. So since then, like that tree is beautiful this year and it's huge, but we've never yielded any fruit off of it.
Like one pear.
And the bad thing about all of our peach trees that we had planted is the deer literally ate them to limbs, leaves, fruit, the whole 9 yards. So I'm hoping that this year, since Hattie Mae has done a really good job since we've collected more animals on our farm. She has done a really good job of keeping predators at bay. So I'm hoping that she will keep the deer off of our new peach trees that we have planted.
Larry, we do have 2 figs growing. One is just basically what they call a LSU. It's an LSU variety that they make here at Louisiana State University. And then we have another one, which is your brown turkey pig. They're both growing really good. Again, we only had one, and it was next to a really wet area, so we transplanted it. And this year's already doing way better than it did last year. So I'm hoping that the figs really come out. Nobody eats figs but me. I love figs, but I don't like them as fig preserves. I don't like them cooked. I like them raw. I like to take them off the tree, flip them upside down, and just eat them inside. I love it. So I've gotten to really enjoy learning more about. So that's been our really talking about perennials. Like Missy said, our blueberries and plums. What we do with our plums, can't remember who asked that.
Oh, that tree is loaded.
You know what I do with plums?
It is loaded.
I smoke them. I eat the mess out of them. I'm about the only one that does too.
Last year we only had
about 40 or 50.
Yeah. This year we have 500.
We had about 40 or 50 last year. And I promise you, I think I ate all 40 and 50, didn't I? They're the kind, they're real dark purple, and they're so soft. Oh, I just taste them. They're so soft, you just put them in your mouth and you just pull the seed out. That's how good they are.
I pruned it this year too.
But it looks amazing. And there's literally hundreds on each limb. So we love them. The crabapple, we actually got the crabapple to help cross pollinate the apples and pears. This year we had a ton grow of crabapples. We're thinking about taking them and making crabapple jelly or a
Somebody
deer,
said
bringing our deer up.
said crabapple make your own pectin.
That's pretty cool.
That
I've
is
never
pretty
heard
cool.
of
I'm
that.
gonna have to look into that.
I'm sorry, I missed one comment.
Paige, Family Homestead, Our Journey Back.
We'll have to try that. What do you use for pest in y'all's garden, Mandy Summerall? Well, we actually last year we used.
My daughter's flip flop.
I know. We used we used garlic. Last year we got some organic sprays. We're gonna do a video on those to try them out. We didn't want to.
Footed stink bugs.
Yeah, they were terrible last year.
Were terrible.
But we didn't have. Let me go back. We really didn't have an influx of bad bugs last year, except for
the leaf-footed stink. Now we did have several aphids that I had to try to keep under control.
It was a little bit later on.
But when you're talking about 200 plus tomato plants,
yeah, and we had 10,000 square foot garden, so
spraying those was like I mean, you could not, if you let it go for longer than a week or two. I mean, it was like,
yeah. So they
were just everywhere.
I'm not saying we don't have bugs, but I think all the prep work we're doing really makes a difference. Because like it's nothing for us to see a cricket or a spider or ladybugs or something like that in the garden, and earthworms, but we don't really see a lot of. I don't know. I mean, like our cabbage, we didn't cover our cabbage for winter, and we had no cabbage bugs except for literally last week when we pulled them.
Yeah.
And we had like 1 or 2 leaves eaten.
We've heard that deer don't like Irish Spring too. If it looks like I start having a problem, I've heard that deer actually are not crazy about any kind of scented soap, but especially your stronger ones. I may do that. I may just try. Hey, what's it gonna hurt?
Deer, we really don't have deer issues. I mean, we love deer, and deer come very close to our house.
That's it. I think it was the woolly apple aphids. I think that's what it was. I cannot remember off the top of my head what she said, but I think you're right. It looks like you've taken cotton and picked it apart and just placed it all over it. It was really gross.
I've not tried that heirloom. The things we planted
Miley
was
said those girls.
Yeah, I know. We usually companion plant marigolds and basil, of course, with our tomatoes. And like I said, last year our heirlooms is of course what got the brunt of it. Anything we had that was hybrids, we had hybrids in our hugelkultur beds, and we started getting hornworms later in the season, and then that's what actually killed them.
Yep.
But for the first part of the season, we didn't see a hornworm at all. They were all on our heirlooms, like our Cherokee purples
because we do
and our bitter boys.
Progressional growing too. All of our bigger plants did amazing. I had the battle here and there with the aphids, but then the next batch of tomatoes that we were going to put in, once those died off, we were actually had them planted and growing, and they were really good. But they got ate down. I mean, there was one. Actually the third set. They ate every single leaf on every tree that we had.
Get started on homestead. So I tried the Irish Spring thing, and I think the deers liked it. They were just licking it. It didn't work. I've heard people debunk that too. We've never tried any of that.
I've never always heard it, but we've never tried it. I've tried cayenne pepper on squirrels getting strawberries. I've tried cayenne pepper on.
Are we buffering? Is everybody good?
I've tried cayenne pepper spraying strawberries, tomatoes, because the squirrels are getting the tomatoes too. But
thank you.
It has not seemed to help for us down here.
Thank y'all for letting us know. One of our feeds is kind of messed up. Yeah, we tried the cayenne pepper, especially on strawberries. I think the squirrel just laughed at us because they would eat around the cayenne.
I would still see them out there.
Hey, J&C's Oregon Homestead. Oregon Homestead.
Talking about me.
I know. Pummicles.
He likes making jokes.
I have jokes, but then when I do a joke, she's like, "Yeah, see."
So, I think in the midst of everything that's going on, it would be safe to say, I mean, why not go get some seeds to put in the ground, but put you some stuff in But put you some stuff in the ground too that will grow up, give you fruit for years and years and years to come. So we're super excited about that. You just, I feel like it's a sense of security in a way that really you can only provide for yourself.
To me, things about security, just like today, we had to pick up some essentials, your typical stuff that you need that you can't grow. I can't grow toilet paper
and squirrel dumplings
grains,
was kind of pretty. Was kind of funny.
But there's nothing better to me than to look. I actually had a minister made a comment to me yesterday. He said, for all these weeks, we always thought y'all were nuts, and then now we see that y'all are making more sense than anybody right now. And I guess it's kind of, I found that comical.
Hey, Lacey.
It's sad.
Yeah, that's easy for you to do, though.
It's sad because there's so many people around us that are just now. Like I had a guy next to me at the feed store the other day. I was buying some sheep feed or something, and he was just trying to figure out how to even grow corn. He said, "Do I grow it in a row? Do I just put it in a 100-foot row?" I said, "No, sir. You have to actually make it in a, you have to make it in a square so it can cross pollinate." And he was probably 50 years old, but he'd never grown a garden. So I think it's so cool that us in this community has a time to where we can start teaching other people, because it's I don't know if it's fear or scare tactics or whatever, but for some reason they find the need to say, okay, we got to try to provide for ourselves. And like Missy said, I think that the security that we get when we have the males on the farm that can actually have sustainable livestock, or we have the way we can save our seeds, or we have the perennials or the biannuals, all those things just gives me security. And I just
who on
always
here
makes me
saves
happy.
your seeds? Not every single thing of every single thing you grow, but for the majority of what you grow, do you sacrifice a plant or two to get those seeds? Do you just let, like at the end of the season when you pretty much got all your crop, you just let the rest of it go and then collect seeds at that point in time? We really got serious. That's probably right. 2 years ago, of really learning how to let stuff go to seed. I would hear somebody say go to seed, and I would tell me about, what are they talking about, letting something go to seed? And then I learned you have to actually let the plant die to the point of when you touch it, it's crackling. And then that plant, when it gets to its most mature point of its life, it's going to, most plants will produce a flower, and those flowers will produce seeds. Now, marigold seeds looks totally different than pea seeds. Dill seeds and carrot seeds are pretty similar because they make flower heads that turn into seeds. But marigolds, when I started looking for those seeds, I had to do my research. Type in on Safari, Mr. Google Pants, as Justin calls it, says, where is the marigold seed? So it's under marigold flowers at the top, and then it comes down in a little shoot, and then it has a stem. Now, I don't know all the technical flower terms, but in that little section in the middle under the pretty flower at the top is a little package of seeds, basically. So when that marigold, for example, completely dries up to the point where the whole flower looks like it's dead, and you're like, I might as well just chunk this thing, that's when you get your seeds. It's dry, crackly, and you just crackle that little bottom part open, and there's your seeds. So we bought a pack of marigolds like 2 years ago, and I saved the seeds last year and planted those, saved the seeds from that year, planted them last year, used those marigolds, saved the seeds, and I've replanted them again this year. So just off of that pack, I have produced tons of marigolds just from, as they die, I would go pinch the flower head off, put it in a Ziploc bag. It has to be completely dry. Do not toss one in there that's wet, or they're going to mold. But they're different from...
Like the carrots we ate today were actually from our carrots.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. All right, Heirloom. Thank you. See you later. We actually, it's like the carrots we ate tonight and the lettuce we ate tonight were really from our seed. Well, we had a little butter crunch from a Halls, but most of the lettuce that we ate tonight, and of course the carrots that were mixed in with it, were all seeds that we saved really over the last 2 years.
I had parsley, which that was a plant that I bought.
Yeah.
And then I had what else in
Hey Smith
there?
family.
Parsley. Oh, I had some oregano.
Yeah. So it's really cool to me. It's one thing that's cool to grow it, but it's one thing to cool to grow it over year. That's our seed, and I think that just gives me such a warm tingling feeling.
Well, and when you do it, when you buy a plant or seeds or whatever you're starting off with, and you grow that plant
Simply
up,
Jan, how
and
are
you
you?
use it and you feed off of it, you eat off of it. I have used some of our broccolis and all kinds of other stuff to feed us and other animals, plus the bees. And then you let it go to seed, and then you get those seeds, and then you do it all over again, and then you do it all over again. It's just really, really something special about that.
It's cool. It's really neat. So that's what we've been doing. We've been rocking it on the gardens. I'm not gonna lie. We have been proactive. We've got everything planted. The only thing we don't have planted in garden and in ground is tomatoes.
Yep.
We're just letting them get a little bit taller. Misty's been splitting them. We've probably got like 500 tomatoes.
I'm gonna tell y'all what I do, and I know everybody handles this a little bit differently. Most people will put 2 or 3 in their seedling trays, let them grow up. For those who do single stem planting, most people will go in and pinch off the ones at the bottom, except for one. Well, last year I decided to do something a little bit different. So I popped mine out and massaged the packed soil around the roots, got the soil off, and I would now I wait till they get probably 4 inches tall at least. Then I take them by the stem and gently wiggle them out. And once you start from the top and kind of wiggle them out, the rest of the roots will just follow. So if I have put 3 seeds in one seedling tray and I pop those out,
by gosh, we're gonna get 3 out of it.
I'm gonna get 3 out of it. So I can't just throw those other 2 away and say, "Well, I'm just not gonna do anything with it." So
what's up, Howie? How are you, man?
All of my seedling trays, if we put, and I said I don't have the space to put 1 seed per seedling tray. Now, would that save me time in the long run? Yes, but initially I don't have space for that.
We do now. We got seed trays for days, but the greenhouse can't fit a 500 trays.
Right, that's my point. I don't have the space for that. Yeah. So because we do progressionary growing, our biggest ones are fixing to go out in the garden bed, so that frees up my space. So this next set that I have coming in behind that are a few weeks behind, I can split those up, and then when they're big enough to go out, then so it's a cycle that just keeps going. But I can't, and I've heard some of your bigger people say, don't mess with the roots and blah, 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 blah. I've had great success doing that. Last year, every single one of mine that we single stem, every single one of them, and I popped those out of the seedling trays, separated them, replanted them. They need to keep moist soil, at least for the first several days until their roots get back reestablished. If you separate them and throw them into the soil and don't worry about watering them, they're probably going to die.
Hey, who does soil blocks versus solar trays? I mean, how do y'all grow your seed stars? That's another thing too. When we grow our soil blocks, like Misty was talking about, that's the one she grows in our soil trays because she can split them, she can maneuver with them. In a soil block, it's kind of hard to do that. So
it makes it a little bit more difficult.
So we do grow in soil blocks. I actually love growing in soil blocks
because you pick them up and put them in there. Easy.
Definitely. But anytime we're growing something like that where she's gonna split it out, we have to use soil trays. But now
flowers are really easy to do soil blocks with.
I love soil blocks, but make sure if you're like what she's talking about,
they're more time consuming on the front end, but then really easy on planting.
Definitely.
To where it's a little bit different. It's vice versa on
the start to finish version. Right. Yeah, definitely, I agree. The thing that I like the soil blocks personally, it is a little bit more work, but to me the soil blocks,
like most people use trays.
Yeah, soil blocks end up being cheaper in the long run just because you don't have any container. But like for us, we just got hooked up with our local nursery that can't reuse, so we've probably got over 20,000 soil trays, placement trays, and it's like, gosh, now do we do do we do soil blocks because we have so many trays? Before we were worried about breaking a soil tray or having to use or buying a higher end square like a Halls tray or something like that. But man, now we can do it either way we want to. Which I love soil blocks, but to be honest with you, with
May the
those
24th, that's when most of our stuff is
our plants
thriving.
don't go.
Until
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Cold. What zone are y'all in?
Peach family, y'all are in Canada, aren't you?
We're in super south.
Our peas are like this tall now.
Yeah, they're huge.
Like we have pink eye, purple hull, and lima beans, Mississippi pink eye, top plant. All that's growing right now.
You're right, Kim. So Colby had said, "Hey, Mom, thanks for joining us." Colby had
Yep, Ontario, Canada.
Our last progressionary set of broccoli and stuff had put in between our huge broccoli now. And our cat got in there and scratched it all around everywhere, and it's just about half dead.
I think we're going to eat cat dumplings very, very soon. That's not a joke.
At least yours will still come up, might be everywhere, but I think he scratches them like so much to where it doesn't even, it stops growing.
See, our cooler crops, the one good thing about here is, we can grow things. We're 12 months around year. I mean, we can literally grow 12 months a year here, and that is cool. But like you said, where our cool crops, we have to be very careful with our cool crops. We need to make sure that we're growing them. Like, really, we went in with onions in February, and I'm hoping I can get that harvest out on their biannual before it gets too hot. And I think we will. But I mean, for us, we have to be very careful with cool crops because, like right now, where some people are starting cabbage and things like that, they can't thrive here now because ultimately, by the time their head is there, you have so many insects around it, you couldn't control it.
Homestead and Grading Business and Life, they're Minnesota, and they're late May too.
That's crazy.
And one thing I want to throw in here on this chat is because we have so many cool channels.
We're 8B too, Simply Jan.
That is all over the place and does things in such different ways. Like I just read somebody's comment about using a jug container to germinate their seeds. So for those who have channels or just viewers that are here to learn from other people, y'all, all you have to do is click on some of these names, go to these people's channels, subscribe to them, watch some of their videos. I think you will be surprised about how much you can learn from other people. Just because we do it one way or somebody else does it a different way doesn't mean necessarily that one person is right or wrong or whatever, but it might be what you like best or what is easier for you or, whatever works best in your area or whatever.
Most of y'all on here, there's a few that's from our area, but you got Food Forest, which is Canada, and then, of course, Shawn, Alaska, and then, of course, that just blows my mind, all y'all from Canada. Just like you said, 2 foot of snow still. I mean, we had today it got down to 50.
Well, and then somebody all the way down from Florida. Yeah. But what is so cool is I think that we can learn from each other in so many different aspects. So y'all
today
check
I was milking
on each other's channels and watch. You will be so surprised how much you can learn from other people.
Today I was milking and it got chilly. I had to put a jacket on. It was like 55 outside, and that was the coolest night we've had probably in. And oh gosh, probably 3 weeks.
Well, it rained, and have you seen our broccoli from
yeah,
after it rained?
Crazy.
It's grown tremendously. But anyway, then it got kind of cool, but it was back
it's
up
about
pretty
85
warm
today.
this afternoon.
Yeah. We today was probably
winter sowing.
It was probably Easter snap for us today, which was a 55. So we had shorts on.
Yeah.
When I milked today, I actually went out with my overalls, and then I had a t-shirt on. I was like, ooh, it's a little breezy, so I had to put like a thick jacket on.
Hopes to get potatoes and cabbage in.
Man, our potatoes are like 2.5 foot tall. They're beautiful. Actually, I need to go back through and kind of mound up around them.
We've been wearing flip-flops and short pants. And see, 55 is cool to us because on just about any given day, like it was in the mid-90s here just a few days ago. It was so hot.
Hey, by Faith, I'm sorry we missed you a while ago. By Faith alone.
70s there. Yeah, see, that's very common down here in our neck of the woods. People know
so
that's
you're
slang.
So
y'all
Food
know that
Forest,
slang.
Food Forest, you're 8B. That is awesome. Even though you're in there, so you're on the island, Vancouver Island. Yeah, so we can grow satsumas and lemons, but we have to grow them in a greenhouse just in case.
I actually have some lemons in my spray bottle that I picked just a few weeks ago from my lemon tree. And there is a lot of oranges on our orange tree. They are, again, like Colby said, in the greenhouse. And I keep them there. They're in 50-gallon pots.
No, they're not 50-gallon. They're in 25-gallon pots right now.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in 25-gallon pots. Well, I don't know how we'd upgrade them. I really don't. We're gonna have to prune them back. We've got some bigger pots, but they're for moringas. They get bigger, so we can't really go up from where we're at right now on those pots.
Not yet.
The orange is touching the ceiling in the greenhouse, so they're doing really good. So that's what's cool about trying to grow things, and just to hear some of y'all talking about how y'all are still in like dead of winter, that just blows my mind. I can't imagine. Just can't imagine.
Well, I was typing and then you stopped talking. 20 hours of sunlight. Yes. So Mike and Jenny went up to
Mike and
Alaska. And we went to visit with them shortly after they got back, and he said it was so weird going out and seeing the sun at like 12 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
They were telling us it was the weirdest thing.
It would be
and
hard
see, we're not
very usual. Hey, Gossmania, how are you?
We're not used to that, so it would definitely be weird. Which I know that's just part of your life if you were born and raised there. That's just the way it is.
See, we pretty much can start. We started our outside gardening in January with onions and broccoli, and that was succession and progression. So we already had onions and broccoli planted. So this was our second set. Our broccoli now, the broccoli we have planted is basically mostly a Hulse. It's called.
We have been very happy with their seeds.
It's a heat tolerant broccoli. So I'm hoping that we can get those harvested prior to the main heat here, which is it's already hitting. But for us, we've pretty much been growing spring and summer stuff now. Our whole garden's planted. I mean, it's amazing that we've got everything planted. Our corn is up, 5-6 inches now.
You're gonna stop talking.
I'm trying to figure out. You can actually talk. You don't have to type everything.
I don't want to try to talk over you, so I'm trying to type too.
Am I too loud?
But I'm not a very fast typer. All right, I want you to go back in there. We're almost done. Go back in there and go play. There was something I read a while ago that I wanted to comment on. 6 hours in the winter is crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. We've had a lot of rain, of course, in January, February record, but it's actually done really well for March. We've had an absolutely gorgeous March.
Thank you, Smith family, because
our corn. We've never been big corn growers. The reason is, let me go back. Don't tell me y'all don't think this. Corn thrives with fertilizer, and we are organic. So the last few years we've tried to do as much organic, but organics is expensive. So this year we really did a lot of prep with our personal chicken fertilizer and cottonseed meal, heavy this year, and it's made a huge difference. So we're going to try to do a heavy fish emulsion, and y'all saw a video on that on our organic fish emulsion. We're going to try to hit that about every 2 weeks on our corn, because we're going to really try to get a big harvest of corn. Potatoes and corn, if we could get those growing for us personally, for the max,
we eat
those two things.
Much.
If we can grab those two things along with all our greens and peas that we're growing already, we can just get those two things better. We would have fully vegetable sustainable. We need about 150 ears of corn to be sustainable for a year. We've been hitting around 50 to 75 to 100 2 years ago. So we need to hit about 150, 175 ears of corn to be sustainable for a year for our family, because we don't eat tons of corn, but we eat some corn. And then for potatoes, we were about 5 to 6 months sustainable, but we go through some kind of potato. So we planted more hills this year. So if we could get those two things sustainable, we literally would probably be completely meat and vegetable sustainable, I would think. Yeah, I heard, Sean in Alaska. I've heard that. I heard doing a compost tea is excellent. It's a very good source of nutrients for them. So I've read that actually today, to be honest with you.
I saw another comment that I wanted about the
Do you
vegetables in
still?
the grocery store.
Yeah, I think you just passed it back. Right there.
Okay. Homesteading, Cravel's business and life. Do you still can veggies or grocery shop?
Okay, so we're going to tell you this. We don't can at all hardly.
Pickles.
We can pickles and then we water bath. You know, if Missy's doing some kind of like jelly preserves or something like that. We do a lot of freezing. That's pretty much all we do. We either eat in season
Dehydrate.
and dehydrate and then freeze.
And
We've
I
been doing
guess our
some
kind of
fermenting.
take on that is I think it's awesome for sustainability as far as to have something put up. But for nutrients and the time, we try to do nutrients.
Mhm.
We try to eat most of our foods that are packed full of nutrients, and we feel like the cooking things under pressure with that kind of heat really kills the nutrient factor part of it. So canning, I think for sustainability, when you can't go to the grocery store and get
It's
what you
awesome.
want, is absolutely spot on. Now, I have never been able to master canning because I've always had little ones. Like mine range from 2 to almost 12. So I've always had a small child to take care of. So I've never been able to just get in the kitchen and work with a pressure canner. But do I want to for times like this to have enough food stocked up so I can just walk in a room and get it? Yes, absolutely. But that's not my main that's not our main focus on the homestead because we want to grow things that we can eat
We
that
do
are
grow in
full of
season.
nutrients.
So like right now, we were just talking about this. We have
Tonight
we have a lettuce growing out crazy.
Right.
I mean, it's just
So
nuts.
microgreens, lettuce,
Broccoli, carrots, all that
broccoli,
was
and
salad.
carrots that you bring in. Plus, I put parsley and oregano ground up all in the salad tonight.
So and people then are naysayers, of course. And again, we're not naysayers on canning by any means. Some of our best friends are canners.
No, yeah.
But a lot of our stuff. Well, what happens?
I will one day when I can get to that point.
But a lot of that
for
we hear
sustainability. But
we hear people say, "Well, what are you going to do if your power goes out?" We understand that. We do have generators. We're actually looking into a big monster solar off-grid generator just for that reason.
Ours is too, Gosmania.
We actually, when our chickens, of course, are already put up in the freezer. We've got another set of chickens that we're growing right now, plus the pigs and cow. So at that point, we've got to figure out something to be a little bit better on making sure we do have a sustainable source of energy. So we will look into probably a different style generator. Our generator right now will run all our freezers for probably 5 to 10 days, which is what we would probably be grilling a lot at that point. But we do ferment some. We do freeze a lot. We don't can as much, and we would probably like to get into can a little bit more. We probably should, just as a backup, but we just haven't. But again, we have 5 kids, so for us, we have to have that size garden, and with us eating in season, it pretty much goes pretty quickly anyway. So
I traded kill seeds for a loaf of local homemade bread. Hey, that's how you do it right there. Barter. That's right. So we've traded some things in the past.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, we've done that.
Absolutely.
Mm-mm.
I would say this, Gosmania. I believe a Jersey cow is one of the best assets on your farm. When I say that, it's one of the hardest things to work on your farm because they can get on. Cows are therapy, but cows can cause. Actually, I thought I was going to have a heart attack yesterday with a calf. They've just stressed me out to a point where I literally told myself, I said, "This is going to kill me."
The calves are there.
My cows are awesome. Calves are another story. but again, what I would say is
the calves jerseys, or something. If they're not bottle fed,
they're a lot of work. Cows are a lot of work. the Jersey cows a lot of work. They're worth it because, like right now, I heard this. Now, I don't quote me on this, and again, if you heard something different, so be it. Our area is heavily Farm Bureau Federation, which is a co-op that kind of runs a lot of our milks and things like that. And I didn't even tell you this, but I heard that a lot of the milks, because people were buying some milk and then some people were not, and they were trying to mass produce it, and then all of a sudden they were losing a lot of milk. That a lot of co-ops were going to pull back on their milk production, and they were going to start throwing milks away. So I heard that today. And that's one thing I don't have to worry about buying. We have milk, we have cream, we have butter, we have cheese, or we don't have cheese. We make cheese, but we don't even like our cheese. But it's another story. Yogurt. So that's one thing I think a cow is one of the biggest assets on the farm. But there's a lot of investment and a lot of time that you have to devote to that cow. But I agree with you. I think the cow is perfect. Pig is where it's at.
All right, I saw somebody asking, even though our feeder pigs are a little cray.
Yeah, they need to be shot. Well, they need to be dispatched. Two are fixing to get heavier feed and heavier milk because they're fixing to leave from here and become sausage pretty quickly.
I love my salsa. I stick it in the freezer. I don't actually can it, but I do like my homemade salsa.
Yeah, it is good.
All right, with fermenting, does it need to be in the refrigerator after it's done?
Depends on what you're fermenting. If you're doing stuff like sauerkraut, we don't eat sauerkraut. But if you do stuff like sauerkraut, I know a lot of people that wants it more vinegarized, so they'll leave it out on their fridge. They'll pull off of it, and just keep on letting it rock. If you're trying to make a yogurt or trying to inoculate something, a lot of people leave them on counters. Our sourdough may sit out for days on end.
Depends on
what you're doing,
and it depends on what you're looking for too.
Right.
I mean, for my sourdough, I used it after I established it. I used it for like another days, and then when I was done with it, I went ahead and put it in the refrigerator, and then pulled it out when I wanted it.
I think everybody, Simply Jan and Gulfsmania, I think everybody should have pigs or a pig. Pigs are easy; they don't hardly get sick. They can till your garden. And don't be wrong, I'm not saying you need 5 big monster feeder pigs like us, because I do want to kill 2 of them because they just stress me out. But I will say this: I think that you can usually pick up pigs for dirt cheap. Heath Mural was just on here a while ago. I don't know if he's still on here, but they've upgraded to pigs too, and they bought 3 yesterday. And again, he wouldn't mind me telling you, but he bought them very economically. And when you think about buying pigs economically, and it really don't take a lot to feed them.
I want smaller pigs, not larger breeds. Well, if you kill them off when you're supposed to be, they won't get to be huge.
Yeah,
I mean,
pigs for everyone.
Our
250, 300 is not a big
American
pig.
Guinea hog, he is huge, but his only purpose is to just be a daddy. I mean, we didn't buy him to kill him off. We bought him to just be a daddy, and he is huge. But I could turn around and sell every single one of his babies, sell them for double what we paid for him.
Right.
So
pigs are dirt cheap.
Now we can rebreed her, and she will have babies again in 6 months. And so even if I sold a few of those babies, it would cover the amount of feed that we have to feed him to just be here. So it weighs out, because he does eat a lot. Oh, he is so fat.
You don't need a lot of room to grow pigs for sure. Now cows, you may.
You can raise pigs in a 10x10. You just need deep bedding.
Yeah, you gotta have bark. You need bark of some sort.
Deep bedding is the key.
Serenity Hill, depending on what kind of pigs you're growing, some are 4 to 6 months. If you're looking at like a Tamworth or a Duroc pig, I'd say both of those can grow pretty rapidly. And Berkshires, they're 4 to 6 months. We grow Yorkshire, blue butt Yorkshires, which are the pink pigs that y'all see that can get kind of crazy. They have taken, they're at 8 months right now. 8 to 10 months will be fine for them. I have 2 that could literally go within a month if we wanted to, and we're gonna probably let them get a little bit bigger. Now let me go back and say this: we're homesteaders. We're not conventional farmers. So what that means is I'm not gonna feed my pigs like what a conventional farm would. So if you're saying I want this feeder pig like now, if you buy like deer corn and you soak it in water, or you're feeding them full of hog starter and hard grower, and I'm not against any of that. But if you're heavily feeding them, you can get a pig up in 4 to 6 months easy. But for us, because we're a little bit more on the conservative side, and they're getting a lot of our scraps, they're getting a lot of our greens, they're getting a lot of our milk. We tend to not grow them as heavy as what some people would as liberal. We're a little bit more conservative on their feed. So 8 to 10 months for us to grow a good feeder hog. I got 2 that could go anytime. But I have 3 that probably need about 3 or 4 months. It's getting warm here, so I won't process them in warmth at all. We'll wait probably September on those 3. So that's why I'm going to take these first 2, and they'll probably be sausage and pork, and probably not worry as much as about the bacon on these 2 as we'll worry about the bacon on the other ones, because we'll have a little bit of easier time then. No chickens, no bees, no pigs. Everybody needs bees, Everybody needs bees.
She lives in a suburb.
Put them on your roof. A lot of times in suburbs, what they'll do is they'll make a flat spot on their garages or on the roof, and it makes their fly pattern higher than most houses. And we've seen people do that too in suburbia, where they put the bees where they're not going to be bothered by people. They'll put them a little bit higher.
Yeah. So Miss Terry from Organic Raw Root, and she has some new videos coming out that are pretty cool. Some of her praying minutes and things that are going on.
Where did we find the gator?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So if y'all seen our video, we have a pond that's on our property, and we've had some gators in it for the past several years. Yeah. And but they've kind of really always done their own thing. But here recently, they laid some eggs and made a nest, and I wouldn't say that they were aggressive in any way, but they were way too comfortable for our thinking. So they would very easily, they were not scared of us. If they saw us out there, they wouldn't run off and hide. They would still float around. They would come up to our, there was a bush hogger out there one day, and come right up to him and got all up on the back of the bush hogger, and we were like,
oh my gosh, we've been on for hours, 7 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Hey,
See, that's how much we like talking to y'all.
We are going to try to render lard off the second set of pigs. The first set of pigs, our goal is to really learn how to process better and make sure we're not losing. Second set of pigs, we are going to try to render lard.
Yes.
The Idaho breed, I've heard good things about that, Simply Jan. I actually think they look cool. I've never grown them, and I've never heard much about them, but I've heard good things about them lately, but I've never tried to grow them. Sean, Alaska, a pig is almost like what we've always 50 to 60% of its body weight you're hoping to get back in meat. Now, on a conservative side, you'd be 45%. If you want a good pork belly, you're going to need a fat pig. I mean, you're going to need a big belly pig. So you need to be 350, 400 to get a really good, nice pork belly. If you're doing like us, if we do these first 2 pigs at 250, I probably won't get a big slab of bacon. I'll get some bacon, but mostly it's going to be for sausage and pork chops. And
I would rather wait
a rump roast,
but we'll see.
But the other ones will definitely be a little bit fatter and bigger, and that will get it. Now, like for instance, the American guinea hog will not produce a lot of bacon because their bacon is not marbleizing in their meat. They're called lard hogs, so they're going to render a lot more lard and be more like a red meat almost. They'll be a little bit more of a lean tasting pork, but have a lot of fat on the outside.
Yep.
So it depends on what kind of hog you're actually raising too. That will allow you to get a better pork belly.
All right, Mama, wear those masks to work.
All right, so let's see. Guys, y'all are awesome. We do have to get off here because we are running way over, and all these people probably frown upon us, like Chris and Alderman and all these people that are going on now. So thank y'all so much. What about Berkshires for bacon? Serenity Hill, I think they're good. We actually got the kinfolk to the Berkshires, which are called the Yorkshires. Mm-hmm. They grow great. I think that'd be a good addition. The only ones I tell you to stay away from if you're looking at bacon, if you want bacon from your hogs, don't get the American guinea hog or the Magalistas. Anything that's a smaller breed hog is tend to not going to give you the bacon that you're wanting. You may get a pork belly like this instead of like that.
I will tell you this: if you're looking for a more docile, family-oriented, calm,
thank you, Jancy.
They tend to stay where they're at. They like where they're
docile.
At. It's kind of like goat and sheep. Goats are always mischievous, getting into stuff, escape con artists. Our feeder hogs are the same way. They're always trying to find ways out. Now, in our permanent fencing, they cannot get out. But our nettings,
wrap
they
it up.
can. But American guinea hogs are they're natured a lot different.
Thank you guys for being on. Thank y'all we always love hanging out and talking, and we run our mouths way too much probably. So that's probably why we like these lives, because
We like
to talk.
talking to y'all.
We're homeschoolers, homesteaders with 5 kids, so this gives us adult conversation. So. Good night, guys. Thank y'all so much for coming on. Watch our videos. We have a new video coming out probably tomorrow. It is more focused on the cattle, the cow milker. We've had a lot of people.
Influx of questions specifically on our milker.
So we hope that you'll still watch it. It's a very long educational video about our milker.
Yeah, so if you're interested in milking,
it's a great video.
Want to know
if you're
more
not
about
interested
our
in milking,
machine,
act like you like it and just watch it. It'll be good. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you.
Happy homesteading, y'all.
Happy homesteading, y'all.